jungle of Borneo is a living, breathing maze of green. It hums with life by day, but by night it becomes something else entirely. An ancient cathedral of darkness, older than memory, older than any human who dares to name it. In that suffocating dark, there is a sound that makes even the most seasoned hunters freeze. It is a thin, wavering wail of a baby crying in the distance. It seems impossible, implausible. Yet no one who knows these lands will dismiss it as an ordinary child. They know it is her. She's been called Pontianak for centuries, a name whispered with dread across Malaysia and Indonesia. The spirit of a woman who died in childbirth, twisted by rage and pain into something predatory. She moves through the trees with a grace no living thing can match. Her hair is long and black as the canopy at midnight. Her eyes glow red with hunger and hate. Some say she is drawn by men's laughter. Others say she comes for anyone who hears her cry. There is no bargaining with her, no prayer that turns her aside. She appears beautiful only to betray a promise of safety that ends in screaming. In villages bordering the jungle, they warn their children, never follow the crying, never walk at night among banana trees, never forget that the dark here is not empty. Because the Pontianak is patient, she waits for you to forget, and when you do, she welcomes you into the endless green, forever. Dense rainforest swallowed the last traces of daylight as the group of tourists prepared for their night walk. Their guide, a local man with years of experience in Borneo's interior, moved nervously. Though he put on a brave face, he avoided glancing at the thick grove of banana trees nearby. He had warned them before they set out. Never wander off the path. Never answer the crying you might hear. Some laughed. Others felt a chill at the caution. The jungle seemed alive in the darkness, a whispering, breathing thing. Many locals refused to enter these trails at night. They told of the Pontianak, a woman who died in childbirth, her spirit transformed into something vengeful and starving. She was said to weep in the night, drawing wanderers in with her cries. Her presence was marked by a sudden floral sweetness that turned quickly to the stench of death. The guide had heard stories of loggers finding clawed bodies at camp edges, or seeing a woman in white drift in through the trees, eyes glowing blood red. Few who followed the sound of crying returned sane, or at all. As the group advanced, the canopy closed overhead like a coffin lid. Somewhere distant, an infant's cry echoed. The guide's face fell pale. He didn't want to admit what he feared, that the tourists had already heard her. The tourists pressed on, flashlights darting through the humid dark. Leaves shivered with insects and small reptiles, but nothing large. The forest felt empty of life in an unnatural way. They tried to dismiss the sound, a baby crying, rising and falling. One insisted it was a bird. The guide slowed, listening intently. He recognized the pattern. The cry was strangely soft, the way locals said it was when she was near. He recalled other nights guiding braver tourists. Once, a woman in the group had broken away to investigate crying in the trees. They found her hours later, barefoot, clothes torn, eyes glazed with terror. She refused to speak again, and her family had to fly her home in restraints. Another time, he'd heard the scent change in seconds from flowers to decay. His porter quit on the spot, saying the Pontianak had brushed past him. That man died months later in a logging accident. Locals blamed the ghost's lingering curse. Tonight, the crying grew fainter, The guide told himself that meant she was farther away, but he knew better. They never turned back at the right time. They reached the heart of the trail, the banana grove. Leaves gleamed slick and black in the flashlights. The guide hesitated. It was said the Pontianak nested in these trees, hiding until prey strayed too close. Then came the wind, at first gentle, carrying the smell of frangipani flowers. A tourist remarked how beautiful it was. The guide nearly choked with fear. He could smell it turning, metallic, rotten, as if meat had spoiled in the sun. The crying returned, a baby's soft wail in the dark. One tourist turned to search for it, camera raised. He swore he saw a woman in white among the trees. The group's lights flickered. A rustle exploded to the right. Branches snapped violently as something black and feminine lunged through them, hair streaming, mouth a jagged red gash, eyes like coals in the night. The tourist screamed, scattering in panic. The guide tripped in the roots, scraping his knees. He watched one flashlight beam dart wildly before crashing to the ground, illuminating deep claw marks in the soil. He didn't see who was dragged away, but he heard it. The tearing sound. The final scream cut short. Then, silence. At dawn, the survivors stumbled back to the village in shock. Their guide was shaking, his voice gone. Locals refused to let them in until they performed cleansing rites. Search parties went out, reluctantly. They found a shredded backpack, a camera cracked in the mud. No sign of the missing tourist, except scraps of torn clothing and blood-soaked leaves. Some whispered the forest had claimed them completely. No one wanted to speak openly of the Pontianak, but everyone knew. She had been angered. Her territory had been trespassed. Other guides refused to take tourists on that trail again. Banana trees were cut down around the edges of the village, though elders warned that made no difference. She wasn't bound to a single grove. They said once the Pontianak had your scent, she would follow you anywhere. News of the disappearance made local papers, but details were vague. Officials blamed wildlife, terrain, poor planning. But those who lived there knew. Old women shook their heads at the foreigners' arrogance. You didn't walk the jungle at night. You didn't answer crying sounds. You never mocked the spirits who roamed where humans had no business. The legend of the Pontianak wasn't fading. If anything, it grew. Plantation workers reported seeing a woman in white at the forest edge, beckoning. Truck drivers claimed to glimpse red eyes in their rearview mirrors on lonely roads. Visitors who insisted on night hikes heard warnings in every village. The jungle does not forgive. There are things in the dark that remember every trespass. And somewhere in the depths of Borneo, the crying continued. Soft, pitiful, deceptively human. Always waiting for the next fool to listen. If you think this story is over, think again. Darkness doesn't end, it waits, and the next one might be closer than you think. Subscribe before it finds you first.